Hello, welcome. There we are. Everything theoretically is working. Theoretically. And so, welcome to another World Building Wednesday, in which we are going to build a world. Many worlds, in fact, or at least we are going to prepare to build worlds. Yes, that's the plan, anyway. Theoretically. I'm just checking all of my notes before we begin. So, last time we rambled. Today we're going to get some work done to a degree. We are going to be preparing for a solo TTRPG campaign, specifically solo certain day, whether that's Saturday, not Saturday. Of course, it's not Saturday. What am I talking about? It's Sunday. It's solo Sunday. It's always solo Sunday. It's never Saturday. Unless I've ever had it as Saturday before. Who knows? Look, our calendar differs than yours. So let's, well, begin covering the basics. So we have a vague few ideas that we're going to go with for our solo campaign. And we are going to world build for those ideas and basically expand upon those ideas and prepare the world for our adventure. However, a few of our ideas for the adventure, funnily enough, involve exploring those worlds in a way, generating those worlds that we will be world building. Hence, tying together the concept of world building and adventure. But we'll figure all that out because that's a possibility, but we're not entirely certain. But we have some ideas. So, first things first. Well, I suppose did I do the thing we're supposed to do? Maybe. Look, I I've just had so much preparation for this that I forgot whether I did the thing. The thing being, hello and welcome. As always, I'm your host, Casimir Basilius of the Empire, but you may call me Basil, or Casia, or Kaz or Basil, mostly Basil, because, I'm an Imperial Lord and it's tradition to go with the last name. Unless you were there in, the before times, in which case, you know, Kaz or Kazia. If you weren't there in the before times, well, if you were, welcome, Imperials. Yes. So, now that our intro is done and our coffee is prepared, I'm cautious with this coffee. We would not want to spill the coffee on the multi-dimensional broadcasting device. That would be detrimental. Yes. So, let's see. Where's our notes? Here's our notes. Nope, that's not notes. That's not. Here's notes. Yes, good notes. So, the idea is as I said, well, I'm not sure if I said, the idea involves exploring because one of the ideas is to play, well, watch the life of an adventurer from the Explorers Guild as they explore the frontier, which is going to be theoretically interesting, seeing what troubles they get into. So, what ideas have we? Let's go to our sheet proper. There we are. Okay, so clickety clack. Here we go. So we want to follow likely, probably, possibly, an adventurer or a mercenary or a bounty hunter. However, let's be technical. These things are not mutually exclusive. No, it is not waterproof. I did not have the Empire design the multidimensional broadcasting device. We've repaired it. It was seized. It is likely inferior ancient construction from, well, the era of the ancients, probably. Possibly. I don't know. I just found the thing. Some some weird cat had this broadcasting device, so, I don't know, cats hate water, don't they? Like, I assume it's not waterproof. Yes. S- So first idea, well, like I said, those things aren't mutually exclusive. We could have all of the above, but there are some things I know I want, and those are our main keys. And not, yes, yes, not the keys on a Elysian keyboard. Key points for the campaign. Here we are. Point one. I want a rundown vessel. A big vessel. Not big, but big. You know, big, but not big. Yes. Rundown, though. Not good. Bad vessel. Yes. The question we have is what class of starship is big, but not big. And we can't make an imperial broadcasting device. I don't have the technology. Well, a broadcasting device, sure, but we wouldn't be able to do our multi-dimensional broadcasts, which are, well, harder to do. Of course, we can broadcast locally throughout the galaxy, but those broadcasts are limited, again, to galaxy. And, well, I'll be honest, our galactic broadcasts aren't just limited to the galaxy, they're actually smaller because, well, crazily enough, I don't have the broadcasting power to broadcast. Well, okay, so technically, if you were to broadcast throughout the galaxy, you would need, you know, certain, I mean, people can tune in from all over the galaxy, but the broadcast itself doesn't reach that far. You need you need signals and towers and all that, and we don't have that. We have well, we could of course pay corporations for that, but like I'm not paying Omnicorp doo 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 for that. No, no, no. Me and Omnicorp doo 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 have a long-standing disagreement as they've refused to have a sponsor segment on Galactic News. So, I'm not paying Omnicorp doo 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 for that. Yes, a gunboat or corvette is a good idea. A good idea. Corvettes are roughly the scale we're looking for. I mean, it's either corvette or frigate, but I am thinking corvette. Maybe on the bigger end of corvette, maybe the smaller end of frigate, but probably corvette. So let us take a note. Corvette. Oh, we'll note large. So the other key that we have here of ideas that I wanted to incorporate. So it's going to be run down so it can be repaired and upgraded, and we can do all sorts of stuff with it. Yeah. As for key two, I kind of am thinking not individual scale. Well, yes, individual scale. We're going to have our lead adventurer, but I kind of want to do a little bit of organization rules. So I can't spell. So, small crew, of course. Small organization scale, probably. I kind of want to do some organization stuff. So, that. What else? What else? What else? What else? Yes, heavy Corvette. Ba 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 ba. Uh, well, of course we're going to be, well, but I'm going to be exploring, so that's obvious. But what's what was it? How do I put this? Exploration, but also I kind of want to adventure, merc work, salvage, the whole thing. Well, primarily, we're on a frontier expedition. Crazily enough, as an expedition, we don't have the best supplies, given we're a independent expeditioner. Luckily, we will get paid by the guild, but I mean, the long history of the core nations dealing with the frontier usually involves a bit of exploitation and resource extraction. Ow. Yes. So, along with that, what else? I mean, we could work for Gray Tree. That is always an option. I like that independent contractor for Gray Tree. That gives us options, but we wouldn't be tied to anything because we're independent. Yes. Let's see. We'll note that as an idea because that's good. Independent contractor for Gray Tree survey uh, department. Gray Tree resource extraction. Yes. Because we will be from the core nations, and therefore we will need backing from some sort of major organization that we can get paid from. Well, you know, I mentioned the Explorers Guild. Let's be real here. The Explorers Guild does give rewards, but their rewards are meager compared to corporations. So, we will have corporate backing, and Greytree is as good as any because, well, certain corporations have different goals, and those goals are, well, important to what they do. And well, if we think about it, we're not going with Omnicorp for obvious reasons, but we could, well, Point Combat Templates is a weapons and armaments corporation. And while we have had, I believe, we've had segments for them before on the Galactic News, they aren't really in the exploration business. Greytree is. You can't really exploit resources if you don't know where those resources are. So they will be our primary backing. Although, like I said, we won't work for them directly. We'll just get paid by them. We'll give exclusive data rights to them. Let's see. So those are some good key aspects. We will need a character sheet. So for that, let us look at our list. We will be using a completely different form of character, sort of. We'll be using the, oh, simplified character rules. But fear not, it is just as complex as ever. Well, a bit less, but it's easier to use, quick to make characters, and I need to test it a bit, so you might as well. And it won't take us 5 hours to make a character. Assuming I open the right document. Here we are. Okay. simplified character rules are easy and nice and fun. We don't have out of 20 skill, but we will need a block there. It's important. It will come in handy later. Perfect. I actually have melee ranged noted here. That's going to be useful. We also need I'm actually going to change that to attack and defense. Actually, we have that up there. Words are hard. I'm actually just going to get rid of that. Okay, we'll make notes as needed. We might as well work on making the character. Let's see, we have 0 out of 20 picks. These are things we will choose to design our character. This is using the system I've mentioned before, classless. Yes, gasp, classless, levelless. Oh, what does it mean? We'll find out. So, every stat and ability and everything has a tier that we will assign. Well, first thing first, ability scores are the same. They're not different at all. Like I said, the systems are interchangeable to a degree. So, at least I think I've said that in the past. I don't know. But given that they're interchangeable, there are certain constants. One of these constants is ability scores. We need to assign those. We're going to have high dex. We have, by the way, 16, 16, 14, 14, 12, 10. I kind of want to talk a lot to use our new talking systems. And we are an explorer. We're going to be making deals with people in the frontier. Deals. Like some sort of person who makes deals. Someone named Neil. Neil the Deal Maker. No, that's a reference some of my players might get to a member of their crew. Let's see. I suppose we'll put one of our 14s in charisma. That'll be neat and different and wild. Wow, charisma, not a dump stat. That's insanity for what my players always do. I'm going to put a 14 in constitution because I don't like exploding. We're running out of good stats to place. Um, we are really running out of good stats to place. I'm, I'm, uh, 12 strength? Yeah. Uh, intelligence. Yes, Mr. Deals. Yeah, not everyone has charisma as a dump stat, but it's the standard. Even though charisma is unlike in normal TTRPGs, well, normal D&D based, D20 based TTRPGs, the standard ones people normally think of, where charisma doesn't have as many benefits, we have given charisma a lot of benefits to make it more powerful than usual. Even though nobody ever uses these benefits because nobody ever puts anything in charisma. And for the record, I might as well ramble. This is Worldbuilding Wednesday, also known as Welcome to Worldbuilding Wednesday, where Basil rambles about things. Okay, here we are, top of the sheet. Charisma has various boosts. 1. Charisma increases the starting amount and or tier of contacts you get. Of course, charisma is used in the communication, social, that's the word for it, social system. And in addition to increasing the amount of contacts you get, I quote as I scroll down to find what I'm quoting. Here we are. Nope, nope. Here we are. It gives you a certain amount of the use of the ability Force of Personality. As a free action a number of times per day equal to your charisma modifier, you may improve or worsen a target's disposition towards you by 1 grade for the duration of the current scene. This ability may not target any one character more than once per scene or improve a target's disposition towards you to better than supportive. It also increases the speed at which your contacts respond to you. So it has quite a few bonuses. And if you're wondering, why would you ever want to decrease somebody's disposition towards you? It can be useful in the social conflict system. For instance, if you're trying to make an opponent seem hostile towards you, you could do so, and ideally, depending on the outlook of that individual, it might improve like, oh, you're talking to a noble and you decrease the disposition of a third party, the noble might be like, oh, why is this person so randomly hostile? It can be used in your, if the noble likes you and then that person's hostile towards you, it might put the noble's disposition towards them lower because, oh, you have higher like towards you from that noble than that person, and et cetera, et cetera. It can be used in a variety of fashions, which is why you might want to decrease somebody's disposition towards you. Anyway, there are various reasons like that. Charisma also gives additional uses of abilities in the new social conflict system, which can be useful. So, yes, we're going to have some charisma. But that leaves us a 14 and a 10, which I no, that doesn't. That leaves us a 16 and a 10. Yep, that leaves us a 16 and a 10. I think. I check my notes real fast. 16, 15, 14, 14, 12, 10. Yes. So we need to pick what we're going to be bad at. And that's either going to be wisdom or intelligence. Now, a part of me screams, hey, put that in intelligence because, intelligence important skills. But another part of me yells, wisdom. This is a exploration, survey. Wisdom's important, survival, sensing motive. Okay, actually, third idea just popped into my head. This is a point-based system. We have a 16 and a 10. That means we have 12 points. We don't need to have a 16 and a 10. We just have 12 points to spend. 10 and 12, well, 10 and 2 being 12. 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. We could put 2 14s. Or, or could have an 8 and a 4. So we could have a 15. Why would we do that? Because if we get a level up, we could make that into a 16. Hmm. That's a hard one. Do we want to upgrade something to a 16? Or do we want to leave with two 14s? Two 14s is nice. That's 2 plus 2s. The other way, we'd have a 12. A 12 is a plus 1. I kind of want 2 plus 2s. Yeah, we'll go with two 14s. Why not? So our worst stat is going to be strength. Wow. Okay, next step. This is wrong. We're not supposed to have these because we're doing a different way of doing these rules. We do know our sanity. That's going to be easy to calculate. That's going to be our wisdom times 5. Meaning we're going to have 70 sanity. Hopefully we won't need to use the sanity system, because when you need to use the sanity system, things have gone wrong. Very wrong. Yes. Equally wise as we are smart. So we still have, well, we also need to fix our AC. Well, let's see. First step first. We'll actually note that up there with the other ones, because why not? So when making a character in the simple system, we have 20 picks. Each pick corresponds to a number. Those numbers have different rules based on the different things you're assigning them to. For defense, it is half of your proficiency. We will be roughly, we'll be starting at a little more trained than average, I believe. Let me double check the numbers. No, we won't. We won't. Okay. So, step 1. Defense. We're going to max that. That's going to be E. Expert tier plus 2. Actually, that's going to be plus 4, but it becomes 2 because you'd use half for defense. Well, in one version. It depends on whether they're playing heroic or not, and we're not. Our base attack bonus is also going to be E. Oh. Which makes it plus 4, because that's the base. That means our ranged is going to be 7, and our melee is going to be 5. Our defense is 2, so that is 12, but then we add 3 for our dex, which makes it 15. There we go. That's part 1 done. How many points is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've spent 4 out of our 20 starting picks. For the record, we've gone from trained to expert being 2 picks, and then the other one doing the same being 2 picks. Do we want saves? Saves are important, but so are skills. Let's assign some base skills. We're using the super simplified version, so oh, let's also assign our HP. HP in this system works a little different. Our HP is going to be our con plus 6. We can boost that with picks, but I'm not going to do that yet. We're just going to start with the base. What other things do we want to upgrade? Acrobatics, athletics, those I always like upgrading because they're important. But do we want to make them ultra high? Yes. That's going to bring us to 8 picks because that's 2 each for a total of 8. We do want to do a bunch of socials, so we'll put impress, which is going to be 2 more picks, bring us to 10. And you see, this is quick to do character creation. However, I say that, but there are more options. We're spending a lot of picks on the basic stuff, such as skill increases and basic abilities. However, we could be spending them on special abilities, such as re-rolls of certain dice or all sorts of stuff like that. Special abilities. However, let's see, where is it? Do we want to focus combat or do we want to focus skills? Because we could take 2 special abilities that, if I recall, are mutually exclusive. Let me check my notes on that. What do the rules say? Are they mutually exclusive? For that, we have to look deep into the sheet. Here we are. What's it say? I see. All that. Not ideal. Let's look at option B. Option B is what? I have to go all the way over to here. We can pick 2 special abilities from here, and hopefully that means we can pick some good ones. Hmm. Are we? Sorry, just double checking rule books. It does take a minute. It is slightly slow, but it will be worth it for our abilities if I do it right. Here we are. We will, well, as we're going to be playing a adventurer in a rather difficult campaign, we'll give ourselves some bonuses, basically. So, I mean, they will cost points, but usually you'd have to do some stuff to get them. So, yes, special abilities. That's what we're going to grab right now. Let's double check. I'm trying to see whether we can get part of the combat bonus and part of the skill bonus, if that is allowed within the rule book. Hmm, where is it? What's it called? Yes. We will take both. Unfortunately for us, we won't get any additional bonuses for having a class, basically. I say class and then classless. We can pick some special focuses, basically, but we won't pick those. We won't get those, basically. We'll only get two, as opposed to an additional few abilities. And those two we will pick are Masterful Expertise and Veteran's Luck, which once I note down, you will see. Bam. So we can once per scene as an instant action reroll a failed check for a non-combat skill, and once per scene as an instant action, we may cause an attack roll to hit or miss. Powerful abilities, but we are doing a solo campaign where we don't have allies. Well, we will have allies, but you know. So that gives us two more picks taken for our special abilities. Normally, what we would have been able to do is take one pick and basically been able to get two to three abilities and several additional, I believe one additional special ability. So we've been able to get two, three, or four abilities for one pick instead of two picks for one thing, basically. But it would have locked us out of certain paths. So, you know, more versatility. Let's see. What other picks do we want? We took that. The question, I suppose, is do we want saves? Those are important. Do we want boosted HP? More special abilities? Skills? I'm gonna be real. Skills. Very much skills. We want a lot of skills. Hmm. Well, first of all, search. We're gonna put that up to a 4. That's gonna be 2 picks to put our search up to 4. I kind of want medicine, but I don't need it super high. So, as I quickly double check, yep, that's going to be T plus 2. It's going to be 1 pick for that. And then we'll put something else up to T plus 2. Probably what? Sense motive? Streets of... this is where it's difficult. I don't know what to improve more or less. Let's see. Let me check investigation. Investigation we don't need as high as our analysis. So investigation, we'll put T plus 2, which brings us to 16. Oh, we're running out of abilities. This is gonna get tough fast. Luckily, we can train abilities. And skills are indeed a good idea. See, these are really powerful of Veteran's Luck and Master's Expertise, but like, no, I'm thinking, it would have been really nice to have more skill points, because that was one each, and that could be 2 additional plus 2s or an additional plus 4, you know? Because I kind of want pilot. That would be useful. I kind of want to be able to craft and repair. That's electronics and mechanics, which is two separate skills. I kind of, well, depending on what we're crafting or repairing, um, I kind of want more abilities here. Okay, analysis +4. I want to be able to look at something and determine stuff. Analysis, for the record, being appraise, authenticate, decipher, examine, and forensics. Useful for exploring to a degree. No, it's no. 2. Let's see. I've lost count. This is why I wanted to note them here. Ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Analysis 2. Survival 2. Streetwise 2. I believe that brings us to 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yes, that leaves us one pick. And I want resolve at 4, but we just can't do that. So this is what we've come up with for our build, I suppose, which brings us to 20 picks. We will be able to train more picks, basically. That is a thing we can do. We can also buy the skills, etc., etc. But we have not done that yet. And we will have crew that can help us with a lot of this stuff. I'm just double checking our skills. Streetwise for dealing with city stuff, survival for dealing with wilderness. We don't know what we'll find out there. Analysis so we can look at things. Search so we can find stuff. Although we can hand off some analysis to our team and some investigation to our team. I really wish I had mechanics and electronics. Pilot would be nice, as would drive. But we'll make do. We'll get a team to assist. So, we don't have anything for Fort Reflex or Will. We just won't have those. We can't have nice things. But that doesn't matter too much. It will matter the moment we have to make a save, but, you know. So our bases aren't technically 0. It's technically 2 for con. 2, well, 3, because 3 in the skill, and Will, 2. There we go. We also need to name our adventurer, come up with the background and all that, which we will figure out. But first, let's see. Do, 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 do. Let's see. basically, we're also going to have equipment and ship. Ship, there's no easy way to stat block. Well, there is and isn't. A ship's a ship. But equipment-wise, see, the thing is, if I didn't have these two, I could have mechanics and electronics. Computers is also somewhat useful. Everything's useful. The why everything is useful. Anyway, well, except for maybe the perform skills. Well, it depends on the campaign, but yeah. Sense motive is another one I wish I had. We're gonna have to train a lot. Exactly. We can augment or train. So I think we will have a Corvette, an old rundown Corvette. As I go over to the items catalog and look at our starships list. Here we are. Civilian or military, probably a mix, an armed civilian, or a decommissioned military. As I scroll to look at our options of corvettes, Planet Hopper shuttle. No, we're looking for bigger. Standard cargo ship. Not armed enough. We'll probably actually go for military corvette. But we will, you know, let's go with... No, corvettes are where that begins. Yeah, no, let's go with the corvette. We will spend some time customizing that corvette. Now, yes, dancing, very important skill, often used. First adventure's going to be, oh, attend a fancy ball at a noble's court, and I'm just going to instantly vaporize. Old surplus corvette. We can give it bonuses, penalties, we can rearm it, give it different stats, all sorts. It will be at the maximum size of 100 meters for corvette. We are going to give it a different drive. No, subspace. No, slip space. Or hyperspace. Hyperspace, subspace, slip space. None of the above. We're going to be charting. Warp. Warp is the safest drive for FTL lanes. So warp, that way we can go to, we can basically take shortcuts theoretically at less risk, which makes determining things easier. In fact, we'll have two drives. which will make the ship exceptionally more expensive, but it's worth it. So it will have warp and hyperspace. That way, we can standard warp, and technically, while hyperspace, subspace, and slipspace are different, technically, the charting system for them is relatively similar. It's just what level you're on, really. For instance, hyperspace is the level above, slipspace is the level in between, and subspace is the level below. But they're all technically the loosely sort of same alternate dimension. So charting one is technically good enough to chart the others. So it's good to have that drive, so theoretically we can actually chart lanes, theoretically, if we want money. And then there's a bunch of systems using our new system that we can slap into this old Corvette. Yes, we don't want to let creatures on board. Luckily, warp isn't that warp. Warp's just a bubble around your ship that warps space, not the warp. Let's see. What number of systems can we cram into a Corvette? For that, we need to go to the vehicle design book. Vehicle and starship construction. Starship systems. Is that under the new rules? Finding where I put stuff. Yay. Organization. How does it work? I think it's actually up in the section on hard points. We'll check there first because it is a shorter section. Emplacement points, hard points. And this is why we checked here first, because we now know it's not here. Or is it? No, it's not. Okay, so we go all the way back down to the news section. We scroll a lot. Specialties, we're not using, well, we might use those, but that's not what we're looking for. Where do we, where did we put equipment? As we search. Through so many cases of the word equipment in this file, I feel we've made a mistake. As I panic, that would 40K style FTL would probably subspace, but bad subspace. Yes, I say subspace. It'd be a layer of subspace that intersects with demons and other such. which subspace does. Well, so does hyperspace and slip space if you go to the wrong places. As I continue to panic. Where did I put that rule? Okay. Energy weapons, reactor charge, FTL failure mitigation, equipment health. I might have named it systems. That is a possibility. Which also comes up several hundred times in the document. Okay, we might have to give up on this because I can't find it. One moment. Contacting a conscript. Ah, me makes the system. Me has to contact a conscript to try and get information on the system that I made. Okay, I have a loose idea because I remember one thing, but I don't remember all the things, which might make it easier to find if my sources don't know. My sources might know, but I just don't know if they know. If they don't know, well then, I don't know what we'll do. If they do know, we'll install some systems. I really should have. This is where we get to that thing I said about what is organization. I wish I knew what organization was. I don't. Sensors, not acquiring targets, not stealth. You see, the issue is I'm missing one word, and the word I'm missing is the word I need to search to find what I'm looking for. Or phrase, could be a phrase. I can find equipment HP, which isn't what we're looking for. Flaws and qualities. Those are nice, not what we're looking for. Special abilities. No. Ah. Well, I suppose we shall hold off on that for now. Ooh, wait. One idea, which is to search the ship class. Sometimes I make lists by ship class. Oh, oh, okay, found it. I still need part of it, but I found some of it. Crazily enough, it was, I thought it was in the additional section. No, it was just in the base actual creation of starships section, not the additional section. A Corvette has 6 slots soft cap for systems. These aren't like the picks we have for our character. These are different. We don't use them for, like, we don't just get to pick them. They cost money. But we could, like, I mean, nobody can stop us from putting them in there. But it would be like, you know, I want to start with a set of powered armor. Like, no, no. Okay. But we will start with a few systems. Basic systems, not the more advanced ones. For instance, well, while we have all the basic systems that a ship starts with, I think we are going to give our ship probably enhanced sensors and FTL safety. What is that system called? Oh, as I come to the realization that there are 254 instances of the word FTL in the Starship Creation book. Wow, that's someday we'll organize. Failure. It came to me in an idea. The next word in the search is failure. No, slipspace, hyperspace, subspace don't intersect with evil unless you start, well, demonic, weird space, unless you start going super deep in. Luckily, well, generally ships don't do that. So generally they're safe for the most part. And the initial system I'm going to get for the ship is that second word we remembered, failure, because it's FTL failure mitigation system. What's that do? The answer's simple. It means we can take damage instead of imploding in FTL. It is important for people who use surveyors. It means don't just instantly die on FTL failure. Well, FTL failure doesn't instantly kill you, but it means we can basically mitigate to a degree some FTL failure. We can also enter FTL in non-standard ways safely. Well, relatively safely. We can't go far, it's detectable, etc., etc. But in a sense, we can do so without, we can go off track, basically, which is useful out in the frontier where there won't necessarily be lanes. Okay, so we'll put in a failure mitigation system. Is there any other FTL systems we want to put in? Yes. However, they're too high of tech level. The other two are drive safety systems, enhanced and advanced, which basically would allow us to decrease the failure chance overall and decrease the time between failure checks. Unfortunately, they're tech level 18 and tech level 20, so not really feasible for us. Hmm. Okay, so that's 1 out of 6. We'll figure out more as needed. What about armament? These are generic guns. Let's give them some style. We'll decrease that to 4. They are 5d10 times 2. That means in the updated Starship weapon system, 5d10 times 2 is huge. So we're going to swap 2 huge mounts out and put in some launchers. Now, for a huge mount, we can put in a light launcher, we can put in a medium launcher, or we can put in 1 heavy launcher. I think we're going to put in, we can only put in 1 medium launcher, so, huh. Let's put in a specialty heavy launcher. Yes. So we're going to trade 2 normal guns for that. Don't worry, technically a Corvette is capital class, technically, asterisk. There we are. So we have 1 heavy launcher. That, now we need to actually pick our guns. I think with 4 guns, we will have 4, and we're going to make those. Let's see. Well, let's see what actually the updated base guns are. 100mm equivalent. Yes. We can actually go for the slightly different variant, which is 2d10 times 5, which I think we'll do. Because I think they're roughly the same. 50 out of 50, 50 out of 50. Yes. We don't need to know its stats for the info, so we'll just remove that line for compactness sake. Yes, it costs $550,000 per gun. The heaviest missiles. Technically not actually the heaviest missiles, but up there. Definitely up there. Missile-wise, well, we'll select a good loadout of missiles, that's for sure. Not right now, but missiles give us many options. As for our 100mm equivalent, what kind of gun? Are we going to use rail guns? We're going to use lasers? Plasma bolt launchers? What kind of guns do we want on our Corvette? Just normal guns? Yes, they are relatively expensive, but they are firing at FTL speeds, so, well, sort of. Um, hmm. I think we'll go with... I like ballistics, but part of me is yelling, lasers, go with lasers. So, 100mm equivalent lasers, they are multi-fire, so they fire relatively fast. Yes. If we want ballistics, we got our missile launcher for that. And yes, you can actually load ballistics into your missile launcher. It is an option. That is the great universal nature of missile launchers. Many options. A part of me, a part of me says remove two more lasers. Have two lasers, two heavy missile launchers. But nah, nah, not this time. We'll just have one missile launcher because we can use it to launch probes and all that. Yes. What else? What else? What else? Yes, a 30 slot. It can't fire them all at once, but it'll fire a lot of missiles. So technically what that means is you can carry more than the missile launcher can hold. It's just if you ever get to 0, reloading. And reloading takes time. Specifically, even if you don't get to 0, you can reload, but reloading takes quite a bit of time. You're not supposed to reload when it still has missiles in it, technically, but you can. You can. It's just slightly more difficult. You can't do it in the middle of combat when it's full because danger. But I mean, theoretically you can. Anyway, basically, loading missiles takes a long while once you get to 0. So it's not ideal to do. Let's see. What else? What else? We have a system that lets us use FTL a little bit better. We have our thing for launching probes and other such. We have our base guns on our ship. I know we're going to add some penalties. Damaged systems. And we're going to add a workshop, a damaged workshop. We're going to add, well, that's for now. Oh, salvage gantry. What's the term for it? I have it listed in my system. Starship Not weapons, it would be under systems, yes. We're gonna add two specifically. We're gonna add a grappler arm and a grappler cable, basically. Because we are technically also salvagers. And that's kind of what this ship is going to be. Okay, so for that, we're going to go over to this book. We're going to go over to here. We're going to look here. There we are. Now we're going to slap this here. These aren't technically weapons, but we'll put them in this section. 2 repair manipulator arms and 2 grappler cannons. The grappler cannons fire wires that don't necessarily have claws on them. I mean, it can theoretically have them drill in, or you can have them nicely grapple with magnets or various other methods. And it can be used to reel things in or pull things along, while the manipulator repair arms are used for, well, just manipulating repair of objects. However, the manipulator repair arms aren't the best at manipulation. They're starship scale. Yes. So we'll move that there. We'll keep our damaged workshop. Let me go and check the workshop stats. That would be under the item catalog. Item catalog, workshops, generic workshop. Wow. Oh, there we go. Generic workshop. Okay, we're going to put brackets. The reason being, it's damaged, so we're getting half the benefit as opposed to the whole benefit. Which means our workshop is about as good as a deluxe repair kit, which is bad. It's actually not bad, but it's bad for a workshop. But it's what we're going to work with for now. True. A star sector-like ship. So we got our damaged workshop. What else was the things I wanted? A lot. I want a lot, but we can't have a lot, so. Oh, inventory. That's easy. Not for our ship. Personal inventory. That's a thing we can do real easy. For that, we just go over to here. $20,000 credits and all the base items. And we will have no wealth points, as all of our wealth points will be basically waved away to give us this ship, even though this ship is not worth that. We're probably going to be paying off this ship. Not worth it as in it's worth far more than the wealth we would probably have. I should probably use the other thing for that. Being the other thing being the character sheet. This entire lower section, we use the simplified sheet, but we probably want the lower section. So we'll steal it from here and place it here. like so. Okay, we're going to have both a datapad and a neural datapad, which is technically not allowed. I mean, it is allowed, but usually you have to buy a second one, which is 20,000 space dollars. No, that's how much we have. It's worth 2,000 space dollars. I carried a zero. There we are. Action dice. Oh yes, how many of those do we get? As we're doing solo, we'll be heroic at level 4. Let me pull those after. Wait, did we get me realizing I don't think I ever made rules for how to do action dice level lists? I didn't. I've made a mistake. We'll solve that. How often do you get them? Every 3 levels, starting at level 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll start with 6, because we're doubling our starting 3. There we are. I mean, it's 2,000 space bucks. We're gonna start in debt. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Besides, we're doing solo, which is harder than normal, technically. And we're testing systems. I'll add it to the debt, I guess. Yes. Yeah, I should figure out how to handle that with not solo, with simplified characters. I'm thinking they'd start with 2 and then well, let's see. First level, second, third. The starting level is assumed to be like, let's see. Let's see, we can actually determine that. For simple GR, the starting level is assumed to be 5. How did I come up with that number? The answer is simple. So the tiers that you can start with is expert. Expert is a +4. The simplified system doubles that number when converted to the complex system, meaning +8. Skill ranks. 8 minus 3 is 5. So it is assumed that if your maximum skill is 8, you're probably level 5. Probably. So using that, we can assume 5. So level 1, 2, 3, 6 would get you your third. So you'd likely start with 2, and then you'd have to add 1 per, unless we just be kind and assume the starting level 6, in which case you'd start with 3, and then you'd be able to double that. Either or. That's just both theories about how to go about it. Yes. Not sure which one I'd go with, but that's the idea, the theory behind it all. Yes. But we'll start with 6. We have no wounds, we have a neural data pad. We might get more augments, who knows? We have $20,000. In fact, I will roll for additional starting money. We are an adventurer, meaning our occupation would probably be adventurer, which gives us a wealth bonus of 1. And we will have profession, which gives us another bonus, meaning that our starting wealth will be 2d4 plus 2. Let me grab my d4s because I don't feel like opening a dice roller. 4 plus 1 plus 1, 6. Which is exact starting money. Wow. We rolled average, which has given us the average. Wild. Who would have ever guessed? True, needs a name. Names I find difficult. Very difficult. Hmm. Huh. I think I have found a name. Probably, maybe. I don't know. As I copy and edit and work. There we go. Adventurer has been given a name. They are Albi. Albi Parviz. Co- Word hard. Grey Tree Survey Contractor Albi Parviz. Who hopefully won't get killed in deep space. Let's see, what else? What else? We have the basics of our ship. Could do more on that. We have the basics of our character. Could do more on that because we have augments and equipment. We have the basic stats down. We also need a crew. Okay, let me make some notes. I can't type. Make a crew, modify ship and ship systems. Inventory and augments. Of course, this is next, not next, but next we gotta work on the sector. I've given us a blank sector to explore, so we can world build and explore. So sector-wise, one thing we're gonna do is, well, explore the frontier. I think that would be good. But that is not necessarily needed for character creation, but that's just something for us to do. Make a crew, ship, and ship systems, inventory, and augments. Yes. And then we can train more skills. What else? Was there anything I'm missing character creation wise? Yes, a lot actually. It is simplified, mind you, but it is still, there are still steps. They are technically optional, but like we're going to do them because we like being complete and having characters with lots of options. It is still simple, like the vague things. Like for instance, what is it? Contacts, backgrounds, contacts mostly, background and contacts, yeah. Perhaps we'll even use ties. They're all easy to do. I mean, they're not necessarily easy to do, but they're simple enough to like, they're not stats. They're thinking of things. I say this complicated. It's really not. Like I said, the new system for making characters is a lot simpler. You don't need to pull through a bunch of feats and class math and all that. Theoretically, if I was being quick, I could make a character in 5 minutes, but we're being thorough and all because we're starting a theoretically long campaign of adventuring deep in the frontier. So, going on adventures and all that, which hopefully will be ideal. But I think for now, we're going to call it. We're going to call it here and work on more stuff next time. Yes. So, thank you all for stopping by. I hope you've had a wonderful day. As always, I've been your host, Casimir Basilius. And yes, I hope to see you all in Galactic Requiem next time. Next time will probably be Worldbuilding Wednesday again. And or maybe Solo Sunday, perhaps. But probably, definitely Worldbuilding Wednesday. Not sure. I mean, we can't really solo Sunday without the character, but we might work on finishing the character on Sunday, maybe. Yes, we'll figure that out. Definitely Worldbuilding Wednesday, though. Yes. Anyway, let me cut to our outro. As always, well, not always, but this stream, this stream has been brought to you by Crunchy Bits. By Crunchy Bits. Crunchy Bits. They're one of our galactic corporations. They make little cubes of food, little food cubes. Very good. Very tasty. Tasty little cubes. Yes. Anyway, I'm rambling for fun. Let's go.